London. The most accurate description of Zimbabwe in the era of Robert Mugabe came from a fellow leader of the struggle against white rule. It was Samora Machel, then president of Mozambique and a fervent enemy of colonialism, who told Mugabe in 1980 that Zimbabwe was the jewel of Africa, adding, "To tarnish it." Machel was right, both in his tribute and his sense of foreboding. If you sat down and designed a country with glittering prospects, then you could do much better than Zimbabwe. This is a fertile land of immense beauty, from the eastern highlands to the rugged bush of Matabele land, with an abundance of natural resources, including prodigious quantities of diamonds and platinum. Grace Mugabe, Zimbabwe's First Lady, is in the middle of the fight for the country's presidency. Her rising power may have prompted the military to take over. The Metropolitan Intercity Railway Co. in Japan publicly apologized when one of their trains left a station 20 seconds earlier than scheduled. Pollution and environmental destruction via DIE's operations are threatening the livelihoods of nearby rural Indian villages. The Trump administration is lifting a federal ban on importing body parts from African elephants shot for sport in Zimbabwe and Zambia. A woman has been dubbed the Hamburglar on social media after robbing a McDonald's restaurant in Columbus, Maryland. An alliance of countries and 2 U.S. states says they'll support each other to eliminate coal usage within 13 years, while the U.S. federal government pushes a so-called clean coal agenda instead. The mass killer, who in 1969 sent followers known as the Manson family out to commit several murders, has been taken to hospital. Grace Mugabe, Zimbabwe's First Lady, is in the middle of the fight for the country's presidency. Her rising power may have prompted the military to take over. There is an educated population, plentiful wildlife and what were some of the best roads and railways in Africa. Throw all this together and you get a nation that is almost over-endowed for success. And yet Mugabe has somehow succeeded in tarnishing this jewel, just as Machel feared he would. This is partly because a corrupt elite has been allowed to pillage Zimbabwe's natural resources and embezzle its wealth, leaving the people poorer in per capita terms than they were at independence in 1980. But the headlong collapse of Zimbabwe's economy can be traced back to the onset of the land seizures in 2000, which amounted to a deliberate policy decision by Mugabe to wreck one of his country's most important assets. To understand just how ruinous this behavior was, remember that commercial agriculture was Zimbabwe's biggest single export industry, providing jobs and livelihoods for hundreds of thousands of people. Get the latest news and updates emailed straight to your inbox. By submitting your email you are agreeing to Fairfax Media's terms and conditions and privacy policy. The farms, once seized and redistributed, were often allowed to fall into ruin, their fields left fallow and their expensive irrigation systems broken up for scrap. The result was mass unemployment and the worst bout of hyperinflation ever recorded, measured in billions of percentage points.